There's a split between the inner and the outer of our being. And I find it's an interesting thing to actually think about. I mean, these things are not, as I said, they're not intellectual things to think about. They're actually things you have to grapple with. You have to sort of force yourself to think about them a little, to work with them, to begin to actually potentially experience something that's very different than what you normally experience. But I want you to think a little bit about this whole mind-world, inner-outer division, which to just about anybody you would talk to, it would seem as obvious as the fact that the sun comes up every day, that there's an inner and an outer. I mean, if you think about your own experience now, you actually can do it. You look around the room, and this is definitely, obviously, outer. You know, this is outer. My hands are out. You know, they are out. You can touch things. They are definitely on the outside. That's why you can touch. You see, that's outside. And then you think, now, if you take your attention, now this is actually even interesting to consider. How do we know how to do this? You take your attention and you point it at some mysterious inside, and you can see, I can see I'm nervous. I can see I'm excited. You know, you can see, quote unquote, your inside emotional experience. I can see the thoughts. Where does that inside actually exist? It's not inside your head. I mean, you could take a human body and you could cut it all up into little pieces. You'd never find this inside. It doesn't exist in there. It's not inside the body. You know, and you know, but we're very identified with the body. So if you look at the way you experience yourself, you tend to experience the outside as outside the body and the inside as inside the body. But have you ever seen a body that's opened up? It's all outside in there. You open it up, it's all outside. If you take things out, they're still outside. There's no way to get to the inside in there. There's just a different variation of outside. You see, because the outside is not, it's not here. You know, it's not, it's more, I mean, the only way that I can, you know, the way that I most feel like I can grasp it is, it's actually a different dimension. And if you really think about your experience, and this is another pointing out exercise. It doesn't work with glasses. But unfortunately, a lot of pointing out exercises don't work with glasses because they're on the outside and they give it away. But if you just stand, so now I can't see my own body. So if you look forward, you can't see your own body. You just see what's in front of you. And you keep looking that way, and you can begin to get a sense of the fact that you're almost like a plane. And on one side of the plane is the quote-unquote outside, and on the other side of the plane is the inside. And you are the dividing line between the outside and the inside. And as you move around, the dividing line moves around. That separates what's outside of you versus what's inside of you. See, and this is another one of these pointing out exercises that, see, we don't actually contemplate the nature of our perception of reality that deeply. We sort of accept it. There's a lot of things about the way we perceive the world that we just accept as the way it is, because we haven't thought about it that deeply. But when you start thinking about these things, every single thing that I bring up to you, if you take it seriously and you begin to feel, oh, that's right, you'll see, it all leads to the same place, which is a question, which is the question, who am I? That's what these things all lead to. In the end, they all lead to the same question, which is, who am I really? Because when that question starts to arise in a legitimate way, then you start to realize, well, I actually don't, beyond superficial definitions of who I am, I don't necessarily know. I mean, you know, and who am I is it's actually, in our culture, it's a little bit, I'm not sure it's the most useful way to ask the question, because who am I is this kind of something that we have a lot of ideas about already. To me, it's almost better to ask, what am I? What actually am I? You know? Because that already kind of knocks you a little bit off balance. Because who already implies a person, and it's just what's the identity of that person is kind of the thing you want to attach to it. But if you say, what am I? You're leaving the field wide open, because you're not really sure. And then you start getting into this kind of thing, and you say, well, what separates me from you? Because there is a separation, but it's not the body. That's not the thing that separates. There's more to it than that.